Hello there. I just wanted to talk you through an overview of your observation project that you'll have this semester in EDEL A205. And as a reminder, before we launch into the specifics, when we're talking about field experiences, I want you to think of every placement in every school as an interview. Dress professionally. Be on time. Call if you can't come in at a scheduled time, just as you would do if you were an employee at that school, as if you were a teacher. Because I truly believe that every principal is already looking at you as a potential future employee. Does that principal want you working for them later? Your pre-service experiences are like a 3-year interview. Those principals will remember you and they will be deciding whether or not they want to consider you for future employment. So please think of this as your ability to make a very good first impression. As you go into the school, you'll want to be sure to thank the principal for having you, and then be sure you take a moment to provide specific information to your host teacher so you can clarify your purpose in the classroom. You are there to observe, perhaps ask questions or do an activity with the students, ask questions of the teacher. You are not there to teach full lessons. This is not a methods course where you are expected to do any lesson planning or take over a classroom. This is an introductory course. This is spelled out in the letters of introduction that I've provided for you online. And what you want to do, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. What you're going to do with this letter is fill in this with your name. This introduces you, and you are going to be sure that you review what this says, attach with it your field experience student responsibility contract. That kind of sets up the teacher and the principal for understanding why you are in the school. Okay, and I'll jump over and show you where to find all the paperwork for the classroom, and that is right here in the Observation Project Ethnographic Journals file that is under Weekly Assignments. Okay, there in our Blackboard shell. Now let me go back for just a moment and remind you that the purpose of this field experience is to give you an opportunity to really apply what you read and what we've talked about in class to an actual classroom. So you're going to be doing observations, guided observations, and reflection, guided reflection. And if this were your own classroom and you were using this for yourself as a teacher, we would expect you to see action take place in your classroom after. Because observation and reflection and then subsequent action based on what you have seen and decided are keys to a cycle of continuous improvement for your teaching practice. This is what we want to see for every teacher. It really focuses you in on who your students are, what's happening in your classroom, and provides you with the opportunity to provide a culturally relevant lesson planning and implementation strategy for your classroom in everything you do. It's vital. So as we get into the observation, you're going to use your observation and reflection in the 9 focus areas that are the key topics for this entire semester. Professionalism, learning and the learner, the learning environment, instruction, assessment, curriculum, culture and diversity, communication, and enduring themes. And although all of these are presented in the observation project file folder from the very first day, do keep in mind that these are topics of learning as we progress through the semester. So although you may want to look at the guided sheets for each, or the guidelines that we've posted, the observation and reflection sheets for each of these topics, keep in mind that you can't just work your way through all of these observations in 1 week, because it's a whole semester's worth of learning. We're going to address professionalism. We're going to address how the learners learn. We're going to look closely at a learning environment week by week. And the due dates for these observations are correlated with that. So while you may want to have a focused observation, if, for example, an assessment opportunity presents itself in the classroom that you can really key in on watching students be assessed formally, you could just take some notes corresponding to the assessment, observation, and reflection guideline, but you wouldn't want to write up your report until we've actually studied and talked a little bit more about assessment. So don't work too far ahead. Now, as you go into the classroom to do your observations, do note-taking and note-making just as we have practiced in class, where your note-taking is descriptive, observable, and objective, and then you can add your interpretation to that. That's the reflection piece of it, where you add the value added to what you have seen. Your observation project is the key to this class. You're going to start out by just practicing taking notes the way you practiced in class, and you'll have 2 lessons to submit on that. And then you'll move into your short little essays and have 9 of those. And then you'll put it all together and report out to the entire class on everything that you learned this semester. And that's the culminating synthesis presentation, where you are synthesizing your learning, what you learned from your observations, from your reflections, and most importantly, how you're going to apply that to your future practice. So this, in a nutshell, is what your observation project is. And as we drill down to the specifics for this, we'll go back to our Blackboard shell and open up the Observation Project Ethnographic Journals folder. Everything you need for these assignments is inside this folder. And it starts with the required paperwork, the letters that you're going to take in to your host teacher and the principal. I want you to review the Code of Ethics. Inside this folder is also where you can come back and submit your time log when you're finished at the end of the semester. You'll provide me with the name of the teacher and the school and the contact information for your teacher, so I know where you are, because I don't actually do the placements for you unless you're a Kodiakan. And then finally, this is also where the host teacher's evaluation form will be, and you can take in a paper copy to the teacher so he or she knows how you will be assessed, or how you'll be asking them to assess your participation this semester. They can choose to either submit this evaluation in an electronic emailed form or on the paper form. Either one would be fine. So all this information is in this folder, and you can just click it open and scroll down, and you'll see that everything you need is right there in the folder. Now, as we move on The first two assignments, as you remember, are just simply, can you do note-taking and note-making? Want to be sure you understand the difference between the two. And so as you go into the classroom to observe, you're going to submit two assignments for note-taking and note-making. I've posted an example that another student turned in. The rubric is posted, and then inside of the folder is also the actual assignment submission links, and this is where you submit your attachment right there to go in and be graded. As you go into the school, you're going to be guided through the 9 topic areas. Each of the topic areas has their own folder that sets up in there the guidelines for the observation, guidelines for the activities, guidelines for the observation reflection, and then also some questions that just remind you that we're always going to be leading you back and saying, what does it mean for you in your future practice? What have you learned about this topic that you in turn will be able to apply to your own future classroom? Okay, so each of the topics has a guideline specific to that topic. Inside of there is also the link for each of the topics. As you finish your essays, you'll submit them for grading. Okay, so all of those are found down here. You can see professionalism, learning environments, enduring themes, and so on. I have put them together in a printer-friendly form so that you can just open that and print out all of your guides at one time if you would like to. Or you can open up each folder and work on them one at a time. My style would be to put them all on a clipboard and read through them at the very beginning, and then be sure I know what I'm going to be looking for over the course of the semester. Inside this file folder, the Observation Project Essays folder, is the big picture of how you're going to do each of your essays. Okay, so here are the instructions and tips for success, making good grades, an exemplar for an essay, and that will show you exactly how short and succinct they can be, as long as you are providing a personal application, giving examples from what you have seen in the classroom, doing the activities that have been asked, and then writing as a pre-professional. If you can do those things, you will be in good shape. Okay? And always, always bring it back to how are you going to be applying this in your future classroom? What did you see? What did you learn? And how does that apply to you? Again, this is just the big picture for your observation project. I wanted to post this and let you get in and explore all these folders. We will discuss this again in class before you are expected to go back out into the school. So as you've looked through and listened to this little overview here, think, do I have any questions that I want to ask Kitty before I actually go into the schools? You can also email me and definitely be clear on what your purpose is for your observation this semester. All right, well, I look forward to answering any questions you may have in class, and this is a fabulous learning experience. I hope you enjoy it.